It's another interesting time on your #1 health program, reaching you from the station of excellence, NTA Lagos Channel 10. And today we are talking about sickle cell. We all know that the month of September is set aside to create awareness on sickle cell, discuss the challenges, how to ease the burden and the challenges of people living with sickle cell, our families, our friends, our colleagues, even at school, all right? And also to talk about how to give them support, how to show them love, and very importantly, to reduce the stigma that surrounds people living with sickle cell. All of this and more on this week's edition of Health Watch. I'm your regular host, Nkem or Kibe. We'll go on a short break. When we return, you'll meet my guest. Stay with us. If you're just joining us, the program is still Health Watch, and today we're talking about sickle cell. I have with me a team from the Blood Oasis group. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I have with me on set Gideon Oderinde, Deputy Director of Blood Oasis,
yes.
The Blood Oasis, I hope I'm right,
yes.
And Abayomi David, Logistics Director. You're welcome to the show. And today we're talking about sickle cell. Okay, I think the first thing we need to look at first is what is sickle cell. And I forgot to mention that they are students of the medical school, fourth year, right?
Yeah.
So good to have you on the show. Now let's talk about sickle cell. What is sickle cell? Let's start from there before we now go to genotype, challenges, and all of that.
Yes. Okay, so sickle cell is an inherited genetic disorder that stems from two parents that carry the S gene, the AS, both of them get married, and the child having both S and S and becoming having sickle cell disease.
Okay.
It's seen majorly by people as a thing of a curse or something that is a spiritual attack, but it's just general science, and it occurs when the shape of the normal shape of the cell, of the red blood cell, is round.
Okay.
But this time around, the shape is crescent shape, just like the regular banana that you see. So now imagine the blood vessel that is straight like this now, and the normal round blood cell that is flowing and it's very flexible. But this time around, it's now like having corners. So in the process of having that, many of them clog together and begin to cause pain. So sickle cell disease usually results in pain in different parts of the body and can happen at anywhere at any time. So it's something that most people just need to be aware of. So in case they see people living with sickle cell, they know exactly how to manage such situations.
Okay, let's come to your NGO, the Blood Oasis. So what do you do there? Because when I see Oasis, I feel like, a lot of blood, right?
Yeah.
So let's go to what do you guys do? And basically, this month is set aside to create awareness on sickle cell. So tell us, what are you doing about this month, about awareness, about, educating people on sickle cell?
Okay, so generally, as we all know, every September, the National Sickle Cell Awareness Month, people talk about how to make people aware of how to treat people better and all of that. So for us at the Blood Oasis, we actually started as a student-led organization that talks about blood donation awareness and donating blood in a way that is safe and also voluntary. Now, this month of sickle cell awareness is dealing with people living with sickle cell and how to impact them. One of the complications for sickle cell disease is that they have anemia, and it occurs regularly, and that's shortage of blood. So hence, we as a blood donation organization, we are trying to raise awareness for people so they are more willing to donate blood to save lives. It's like 1 pint can save up to 3 lives, and imagine how many lives that can be saved through that one blood. So that is our cause, and that is why this month is very important to us. Yes.
Okay, so about me, we're talking about
ma'am.
sickle cell awareness, and I believe that the foundation first is to know your genotype. So, what's the importance of knowing your genotype? Because you cannot just assume that you're a sickle cell carrier without going to get a test to know your genotype. All right. So, what are the benefits of knowing your genotype? How can it help us reduce, what would I call it, the spread, or what would I call it now? Reduce the number of people getting down with sickle cell.
Okay, so I'll take a quote. So, my friend said that love is not blind, but love is informed. So there's one thing, the basic thing about genotype is, in sickle cell, is it is inherited. It comes from the two parents. If the two parents don't know their genotype, there's no way they can know the type of genotype that their children will have. If you have AA and you marry someone that is AA, there's no way you're getting a sickle cell child. If you have AA and you marry someone that is AS, there's no way you're getting a sickle cell child. But when you're a carrier, that's AS, and you marry another AS, you have a chance of getting a sickle cell child. And SS, a sickle cell person, also marry an AS person, also has a chance of getting a sickle cell child. So the point is, if you don't know your genotype in the first place, and you just marry without finding out your genotype, there is no way you would even know if your child would have sickle cell. That's one of the most important things. If you now don't do that before marriage and you now give birth to a child with sickle cell, it doesn't only affect you personally, it also affects, even if all your other children are all fine and they are AA or AS, but even if you have a child with sickle cell, it affects all your other children, because the onus to care for that child is not only on you, it's also on your other children. Yeah. So there are things that, those are one of the things that happen to genotype. You also have how you carry your genotype, sorry. So how you carry your genotype in the hospital, just walk into any hospital, even in a lab, they don't need to go to a hospital, go walk in a lab, tell them that you want to know your genotype and blood group. It's also needed for grouping and cross matching. Let's say you have an accident and your genotype and blood group is needed for things like that. So if you have anybody, or you have a friend, or you are a parent, one thing I would recommend is every parent should do it for their child. So you know if a child is AS or SS. That's one of the most important things, because it's help them make informed decisions. Even if a child is not presenting with symptoms of being a sickle cell patient, doesn't mean that the person is not SS. There are people that they might go years, let's say from when they were born to 18, they might not have a single crisis. You will never know, they will not be using drug, but it can happen once and they will have it, and they will never know that they will be like, wow, I mean, some people it's incidental findings, though it's rare. When they go to the hospital, that they will tell them that they have they are sickle cell patients. But most of the time, people know. By the time they are 1 year, some people already have crisis multiple times, and by the time they go to the hospital, they are already finding out they are sickle cell patients. And that thing is, it affects the life of people if you don't check your genotype. You know, it's something that people just think that it's just a one-off decision. You marry, it doesn't really have much repercussions. No, it does. People that have sickle cell patients, majority of the time, in and out of the hospital close to 4 times a year. That's on average. Some people 3, some people can have up to 8 times in a year, depending on how well medicated.
So in other words, are you saying that every sickle cell warrior, permit me to call them that, are you saying that all of them must have a kind of crisis? Some kind of crisis? From what you're saying now,
the majority of them have a kind of crisis. It's rare to see people that don't have crisis, except people that are well medicated, or there are some people that is not, the presentation is not as severe, just normal biology. It's not necessarily that they are gifted or there's something that is special about them. Just some people just don't have as much presentation. Sometimes my mom will be 1 in 2 years, 1 in a year, but some people can be several times, 8 times in a year. So instead of taking such a gamble or risking it, like I would say, it's just better to know your genotype, marry someone that will not lead to a production of a sickle cell warrior, and to lead to everything being fine.
Well, fantastic contribution there. I like the fact that it's coming from young people doing this awareness, because I know that a lot of young people out there are like, I'm in love. I'm in love. I found out that he's heirs, but I'm still going to go ahead. God is going to do it. God is going to change that and all of that, because that is what we are limited to in this climate. You know, our cultural beliefs, our religious belief, and we just want to take some chances. All right. So at this point, I would like to ask you, Gideon, what other program are you having this period? Are you having a drive, to lay emphasis on this education we're having right now? All right, this is something that people pay for in the hospital, but you're getting it free on HealthWatch. So you should say thank you to NTA Lagos. All right. So okay. So what other programs are you having to create awareness on this?
Okay, so basically this Saturday we have an awareness walk.
Okay.
And the essence of the awareness walk is to inform people to know their genotypes, because that's the thing that most people run away from. I've been in talks with some people in market, and like they don't want to know their blood genotype, or that they are not interested in that, and then they make uninformed decisions as regards marriage. I've even seen in our clinical setting where we see patients, they didn't even know that they had a child with sickle cell. Now, the awareness work is going to reach out to each person from the grassroots. We're going to hit the markets. We're going to do like every single person, whether you look like you're on corporate or you look like you're in the market. Then after that, we are coming to converge again at Bagada General Hospital for the blood drive. A blood drive is going to be happening. And we said that we have to save lives, right? And many of people that need these things are people living with sickle cell, especially when they have anemia. So this blood drive is going to provide necessary blood that's needed for their lives to be saved.
Okay, at this point, let's take a quick break. When we return, we're talking about the challenges that affect people living with sickle cell and how to offer them support, ensure that they're not cut off, they have equal opportunities just like people like us. All right, we'll take a short break. When we return, HealthWatch continues in a moment. Stay with us.
Me, I feel say family planning, it help husband and wife for good health, so that at least they can last. And in the other way around, now to allow the woman and the man to have the children that they can be able to train. Because if family planning no there, me, I don't know, people go born not less than 10 dozen.
Family planning na-enyelu di na nwunye aka ka ha dị ime oge ha chọrọ. Family planning na-eme ka nwaanyị ghara ị na-aya ọya ọbụna, ma ọya dị iche iche, ma ọya ma ụmụ ọya mgbochi.
Family planning tí à ń pè ní ìtẹ̀tẹ̀ ọmọ bíbí ni pé kí àwa àti ọkùnrin àti obìnrin kò yẹ ká bímọ rẹpẹtẹ ju tágbára wọ̀ ní ká lọ. Tí a bá máa bí bó jẹ́ méjì mẹ́ta ká bí kọ́lọ́ ká tọ́ ọmọ wa nítorí bí gbogbo tá a ṣe rí nsìn nǹkan wọn oúnjẹ wọn bọ̀ tí wọ́n bá tá a bá bí ká tọ́ kó yànjú kọ́lọ́ kó fún wa bí.
Ya kamata su yi family planning saboda suna rage samun damar 'ya'yansu su ƙara girma kamin su samu wasu 'ya'ya su zo gare su. Idan suna yin family plan za su samu sauƙin abun nan gare su, saboda haka ne ake mutane gargaɗin cewa su continue da ko mace wanda yana da mata ya yi matan shi ta je ta yi family planning saboda ta samu sauƙin 'ya'ya haihuwa.
If you're just joining us, the program is HealthWatch, and today we're talking about sickle cell awareness. And with me, I have the Blood Oasis group, Gideon Oderide, Deputy Director, Blood Oasis, and Abayomi David. All right, before we went on the break, we talked about a lot of things. Very importantly, how to know your genotype, the importance of knowing your genotype. All right, but there's this myth that I want you guys to debunk, because I've heard that people that are SS don't live above 21. But I know someone that just clocked 60, and she's been, in fact, she wrote a book on Still Standing. That's the name of the book, and I can't remember her name now. But she's someone that each time I look at her, she gives me so much courage. She does a lot of things. So, what is your take on that, Abayomi?
Okay, so like I said, it's a myth, right? It's probably might have been happening before because of, number one, lack of funding, lack of drugs. Majority of people were not even aware. Most people were just not willing to accept the reality of them the sickle cell, looking for herbal ways or other means of curing it. But now people are aware that okay, we have sickle cell and they go to the hospital for it, they take drugs for it. So you see a lot of people that live past 61. I know people personally that are above 61, 21, sorry, that are sickle cell patients. The life expectancy of sickle cell has increased drastically compared to the myth that it says 21 is a very easy barrier for people to cross, sickle cell to cross, as long as they're using their drugs. Now there are even cures for sickle cell now, but it's just very expensive and takes a lot of process. But one thing is this: the people living with sickle cell should not be stigmatized, like, or think that, oh, this person is going to die young. You know, people most of the time we treat something like fragile glass. Let's say we're in the midst of friends and we're all gisting and you know, like, oh, this person is has sickle cell, and you're like, oh, because of that, there's a way you treat the person in such a way that it feels like he's living with an ailment, which is not meant to be. It's not meant to be. You're supposed to give them equal opportunity. It doesn't necessarily impact them and their working, or it doesn't impact how they can respond to things. It doesn't impact them as a person. The sickle cell does not impact them as a person. The effect of the sickle cell is rarely felt, especially if you are compliant to your drugs. Maybe at points where they have their crisis, pain crisis and all, there should be urgent response to something like that. If they are telling that, oh, I'm feeling pain and it's lasting for a while, there should be urgent response to things like that. But it doesn't mean that aside from that, if they tell you that, oh, they are fine, they are all fine. If they tell you that, oh, they are feeling tired, they are feeling pain, then you can take them to an hospital, ask them that, oh, what do you take in this? Have you been taking your drugs? What do you do in this situation? But aside from that, in those situations, they are normal people, they are normal human beings. They should have access to equal opportunities. They should not be treated like fragile or broken, fragile glass. There's no point in ostracizing them. They don't carry any disease. They should be drawn closer and given more support.
So thank you so much. So for Gideon, the theme for this month is from awareness to action, changing the narrative of sickle cell, and that brings me to the question of how do we offer love, support, ensure that they are not deprived of the opportunities that we have. All right. So
first thing is the name. A lot of Nigerians refer to them as sicklers. That's actually a debunked name, and the reason for that is you are changing someone's status quo to a particular disease. So we have to change that name. The name is a narrative that needs to be changed first. We can call them people living with sickle cell or sickle cell warriors, just as you said, which I really love, because they are not just surviving, they are thriving. And they may not have the equal opportunities as we all do, but they also get to gym, they also get to swim, they also get to have these amazing activities too. So they should not be limited. They should not be limited. If at all anything, they should be given the most support. Like if they are going at this, then make sure you show for them the best way possible. Yes.
Okay, but we talked about cure and all of that now. So that means there are emerging research going on. That means there's hope for someone who is living with sickle cell. So do you want to talk about it?
So basically, the cure of sickle cell or someone with sickle cell is called bone marrow transplant. But the point is, you have to get someone willing to donate a bone marrow. Then the price for that, I think the last time I saw, there was a groundbreaking bone marrow transplant in Nigeria. The first one, I think, at Lutz. It cost about 40 million there, but I can't remember the exact figure. But I think it was in the millions range, if I remember very well. So that's one thing that's a cure, but it's not applicable to everyone. That's another. It's not applicable to everyone. There are people that might be able to do that, might be able to get the cure, but it's not applicable to everyone. So even at the grassroots, these are people that regularly require drugs. They regularly require support, like going to the hospital. Like, what can you contribute to them? That's another thing. If you know someone that is living with sickle cell, you know that he has to be constantly on his drugs, and our economy is not smiling on anybody. Like, there's nobody's. Previously you had HIV drugs, people were giving HIV drugs for free, but the sickle cell have to buy their drugs, they have to get whatever drugs they are getting with money, and provided they actually eat good food, and all these else things, benefits they require, they spend a lot of money. So you can support them. It's not only by giving them love. You can support them with money. You can help them out anytime they need help. When they reach out to you that I need this, you can do that for them.
Or my medication.
Yes, or your medication, you can do that for them. It's not you demonizing them. You are helping out in the best way you can. That's how you do it. Helping out in the best way you can, and that's one thing that should be available to all.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. Before you leave the show, before we end the show, I'd like you to talk about blood donation. We can't have the Blood Oasis on Health Watch and we'll not get a bit of what we should be doing as citizens as regards blood donation. So tell us, Gideon.
Okay, so firstly, the blood donation process starts with you taking the bold step and walking into a blood bank and saying you want to donate voluntarily. Then the next thing they do there is just they welcome you open arms, then check for your vitals. So you get to do a quick checkup of your temperature, your blood pressure, everything. In fact, to check your blood level if you have anemia or not. Then afterwards, if you are eligible to donate, then you are given an area to relax, just relax everything. Then they take you to the bed where they are going to take the blood from, and afterwards the blood removal takes up like 10 to 12 minutes. It's not long. In fact, if you're having a chat with me right now, it's already done.
Is that 10 minutes? It's
yes,
not long.
10 minutes is not long at all. And they'll give you something to so it to pump faster. And it's a very seamless process. A lot of people are always scared of blood donation, like the needles. Of course, the needles are big, but they are not scary at all. I promise.
So who can donate at this point? Who can donate? Who should be? Who is in the right frame? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Who can donate? Is it anybody you see that donates blood?
Okay. First
you
of all,
get my question?
Yes, I do. First of all, you have to pass the eligibility test.
Okay.
Yeah? Then also you have to be healthy. You shouldn't have any blood infections or diseases. You have to be very healthy. Then of course you have to have eaten well. You have to eat well because you can get dizzy if you don't eat before donating. So you have to have eaten well. Then people living with sickle cell are not advised to donate blood because of the short blood level. But generally speaking, almost anybody can donate blood.
Almost everybody.
Yes.
Also to add to, I would say number one, children below 18.
Yes.
You can't, they don't generally collect blood from them because they need parental consent and it's not even advisable for them to donate blood. Women on their menstrual period too. It's not advisable for them to donate blood because they can also be anemic in that period. Though they also then eligibility testing to find out if their blood levels are high and normal before they can donate.
So the eligibility test is done before
the donation.
Before the donation with your consent, right?
Yes.
Okay,
so there's, just to give a story, there was a time I wanted to donate blood. I did an eligibility test. They were like, oh, the blood I have is just enough for me, not to donate. So it's not as if they are removing out of your blood, right? They also test if the blood is enough for you, and there's or the amount of blood is enough for you to donate. Okay. So if you don't reach the donation criteria, you will not be allowed to donate. Okay. You will not be allowed to donate. So you are not worried that you are going to be having shortage of blood after the donation. The blood you have will be enough to sustain you and not cause any harmful effects.
So any health benefits of donating blood?
Yes. So there have been reduced cardiovascular. Associated studies that show that donating blood regularly shows that you have reduced cardiovascular accidents, things like stroke, things like atherosclerosis, reduced as a result of increased blood donation. Then also there are also cancers that are associated with excess iron. So if your body, if you donate blood regularly, you reduce the amount of iron in your body, which can also cause the benefit of reducing cancer incidents.
Very, very, very wonderful episode of Health Watch. Okay, in 1 minute, Gideon.
Yes.
Let's wrap up all we have said today. What do you have to say to the Lagosian, to that person watching right now, to that person who is encouraged to go out there and donate blood, to that person who is about to say yes to one guy somewhere but needs to do the genotype test? All right.
So I'll just use one phrase, which is we have to be stronger together and we have to break the sickle cycle together. That genotype, check it before you get married. Please, let's break this chain. And yes.
brilliant discussion today on health. So thank you so much. I've been speaking with Gideon Oderinde, Deputy Director of the Blood Oasis, and Abayomi David, Logistic Director of the Blood Oasis. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for educating us. Thank you for enlightening. A lot of people do not know the importance of genotype. Thank you so much for coming on the program. And that's where we draw the curtains on this week's edition of Health Watch. Remember that I normally say health conscious people live longer, so you now know the benefits of donating blood. You need to do it passionately, voluntarily. Nobody's going to force you with your consent. And if you are going to say yes to that man, please, if you are somewhere in Lagos, in the US, in the UK, don't be blind, falling in love. I know a lot of people say love is blind, but right now love is wearing glasses, so you need to go out together. Get your genotype test, know your genotype, so you avoid having some regrets later. All right, you have questions, you have inquiries, you want to sponsor this program, please send a message to okibenkem@gmail.com or send SMS to 07060865487. My name is Nkem Okibe. Join us next week, same time, same station. See you till then.